What's happening, ladies and gentlemen, and to all of my LC out there, I'm Cheater2500, and welcome to another episode of Custom Critiques.
Welcome back, friend!
Now, in the last episode, I gave you all a taste of what my new Alienware M17 R3 can do, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a continuation, the part 2 of that last episode. So, in this one, I'm going to give once and for all the pros of it, the cons of it, and the final verdict in this episode here. So, yeah, it's been a long time coming. I have tested it out for a little over a month now, and now I'm ready to give my final thoughts on it and everything else. But before I do that, though, I'm going to show off the real reason why we brought here today, which is the gaming aspect of this laptop. So, give me a moment to grab my phone camera so that way I could view the laptop in its entirety. So sit back, relax, and just give me a few moments, please.
A few moments later.
Alrighty then, so I've set it up the game that I'm going to test, which is Halo Master Chief Collection, so it's ready to go. Now you're probably wondering, how can this thing record? The answer is yes. So before we do that though, luckily for me though, you could use the Windows key in order to check your settings. So let's do that. Whoops, sorry about that. I meant to do this. So if you go to your settings, right, you know, it's over here already. So basically though, if you want to get to this location, go to home. Well, on the home screen, right? Go to gaming, go to captures, and you're over here though. So I turned off background recording because I don't need to do it though. And it says record this and everything, but because I'm doing Xbox Game Bar and everything, I don't need this option. So the next step we have is we have recorded audio, and record audio when I record a game is turned on. And I don't need this mic turned on thing by default because I could just turn it on right then and there. I'm going to keep the audio quality at 128 kilobytes per second, as recommended by the PC. I'm going to keep these two in the middle. And this is the most crucial thing that you have to do, though. It says record game audio only. Now, if you leave that off, right, then the game bar is going to assume that you want the game and the microphone working at the same time. So if you want just the game audio, I recommend you turn that on. So that way, you know, your audio won't be messed up. And as for the video aspect though, as always, I would like to do 60 frames per second with video quality set at high. And of course though, I don't want that annoying mouse cursor to be here and everything because it's highly noticeable and it kind of distracts you, so let's do that. So now that that's off, right, I'm just gonna use my controller and everything. Now normally you could use the PC mouse and everything, and I almost forgot, how rude of me. Let me turn on some music for you, for your liking, so let me do that. Hopefully the music I selected will be both nostalgic and, of course, proper. So anyways though, I had this on mute though, so let's do escape. So yeah, it's playing at 60 frames per second though, as always, and everything. That's because the charger is plugged in. So let's disconnect the charger and I'll show you what happens to the frame rate then. So it's a little bit of a slow up though. You may not notice it on this screen right away on the phone recording, so let's do that. So you may not notice it though, so yeah, it's a little bit different. It's, yeah, hardly noticeable at all, but it does feel like normal reach or whatever to me. So I have two devices for me today, and this is the headset that I used before, along with my controller, and of course this little device here, which I will show you eventually. So let's take this off real quick. So it's a USB. So what this thing here is, it's a Microsoft Xbox controller adapter, meaning that if you plug this in though, sure, it's not going to activate right away, but if you turn this on, yeah. So now, if you press start, right, now you see how the control scheme has changed and everything in comparison to the mouse. And if I try to move the mouse, you see how it changes? So that means I could switch from mouse to keyboard to gamepad at any time. So this will be acting as my gamepad. So yeah, it works. So you could play Master Chief Collection on your PC as if it would on a console, so that's pretty good to me.
Your awesomeness, it shines too bright!
So the next thing I'm going to do is to plug in this mic, right? So you see these two ports here? Make sure that your controller thing, if you are going to use a controller, is plugged on this side, which is not a jack side, because you're going to need the circular thing for the jack to work. So let's plug this in. And of course, let's plug this in. Now, if you weren't playing a game though, you're gonna see an option that says which device you plugged in though. There's gonna be two options though, and I'm not gonna do that. Okay. So basically, just imagine it. So basically, if it says like headphone and then headphone with microphone, select the one that says headphone only, because if you choose headphones with microphone though, then obviously when you go into the party with your Xbox friends, like over here or something like that, then they're gonna hear the game audio even though your mic is muted. So make sure to choose headphones, so that way the whole microphone thing can be avoided. So that's that. And finally, the recording testing. So let's do one without the charger. So let's go to the game bar, right? And then you see where it says record and everything. It won't show up though unless you have the game active. So let's turn off the microphone, right? And let's start recording. So here it is, it's recording. Let's turn this off and let's use our controller for this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shoot a couple of times. And then I'll reload. And then we'll stop here. But make sure you press the game bar again in order to access this. Boom. And let's pause this for a second. Now the next test is going to be with the charger in. See if I can find it the first time. Where are you? Yeah, sometimes I can't see in the back, so forgive me. Yep, there you are. I just have to feel the hole. There you go. Perfect. Now that the charger's plugged in, let's do it again for another test. And we're going to do the recording again. Turn off game bar. Press start. This time we're just going to throw grenades. And then jump in place. And then we'll just end it there. Now, when your game clip is recorded, right, they're going to go into a folder that you selected. In my case, I go to the videos, and then where it says captures, they're all my clips over here. So that's that. So let's press start for a minute. And yeah, that's about it for the Alienware M17 R3 gaming abilities, though. So as you can see, though, it could play a lot of the games really, really well, though. On its own, without the charger, though, it could, play it quite well. But with the charger, it'll be as if you own a desktop. Now, the only reason why people say that desktop gaming is better than laptop gaming is because of the constant supply that it provides. Now, when you plug in your desktop, right, it's got a constant supply of power at all times, meaning that it will never ever turn off on you. Whereas a laptop, right, that without the charger, it has to run on its own battery and power supply, which means that in order to run your game, though, it has to work a lot harder than the desktop in order to provide some sort of a fighting chance. But with the charger, though, it won't have to, because the charger, like the desktop, acts as its own constant power supply. So meaning that you could plug this thing in, and then it will give you 60 frames per second all day long. But at the cost of killing your battery bit by bit, but it's okay though, really. So let me get back to me though, and I'm just going to show you the recordings that I've done. So yep, just give me a second to set them up. So yeah, enjoy.
later.
Alright, before I get into my critique and everything, I'm going to show you guys one last thing before I get to it though. How well does the processor convert a video? So, I already got a video already ready to go, which is like 40 minutes long, so I used an old YouTube video I have. And basically, I'm just going to reconvert it, into a faster one. Now, I'm pretty sure that's going to do it fast, but if there's any other video, it might take a little longer. But if you need to reconvert it into something, let's see how fast it does it. So my settings are ready to go. I have a stopwatch here, so let's do that. So it may like shave off a few seconds here and there, so it depends on how fast to it. So let's do it and stop it. So this is the only way I can see it though, so it's stopping. And if you look here though, if you look at the bar, this is how it's going to process. So it might take a while for me to do this, so as you can see, it's processing the video right now. Yeah, it's going really fast. Oh, and yeah, there's see, because I turned the Xbox notifications on so I could tell who's online, so let's say, for example, my boy, I don't know, whoever is online, basically he's going to show up here and be like, oh, he's online. And that means I could just speak to him, do a party chat and all that stuff. So basically, though, that 40-minute video is taking is going over a minute now. And it's like 23% complete. So, yeah. So, in about 4 minutes or so, then this whole entire video is going to be complete. So yeah, so far I'm liking the processing power of this thing. And in case you're wondering what the processing power is though, it's Intel Core i7, specifically a 10750H or 10750H for short, if you want to be technical about that. And it's more than twice as powerful as my old computer, which is an i7 4200 or 4300. I think it's a 4200 if I remember correctly. So yeah, that's it. So right now though, it's at 147 and it's around 42.5% complete. But yet it's on a charger, as you can see here. But let's see what happens if I take the charger off. I'm just curious. So, even though the charger is off right now, as you can see, it's still processing fairly quickly though, meaning that it doesn't depend on power in order to process your video. It all depends on the processor itself. So, we're hitting a 2 minutes and 25 seconds. It's 60% complete right now. So yeah, this thing is, like I said, is pretty fast going. And then as soon as it's complete at the bottom, I'm going to stop the clock. I'm sorry. Yeah, because you could just highlight it over here. 71% complete. I don't know, it might beat the 4 minute mark. Let's see. Yep, there it goes. It's going pretty good. Whew. Okay. I might be wrong, ladies and gentlemen. It might do it. It might beat 4 minutes. And as soon as it's complete, I'll stop the clock. It might be off for by a second or two. So I got my hand at the ready. And now, okay, so it shaved off a few seconds. So basically, it was completed at 3 minutes 33 seconds. So that's pretty impressive for a 40-minute video here, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. So yeah, that's all I wanted to show you, and this is how I've been making videos rather quickly lately though. So basically though, I do my edits, here and there though. The editing part is a little bit more difficult because I have to make sure everything's correct. But the processing part and the conversion part is the easy part. And once I'm done though, be like, hey, it's ready to go. YouTube, it's still the same throughout though, because it's their processor that's kind of, doing all that stuff, not your own, Remember, it's up to their processors to process your video and all that stuff. And their upload speeds too. And yeah, that's about it for that one. So give me a moment to turn back to me, and therefore I can give you my final thoughts on the Alienware PC. And of course, if I should recommend you to buy it or not. Alright, let's do it.
5 minutes later.
Okay, everybody, the moment you've all been waiting for. My final verdict, but not yet. Oh, come on! What about the pros, Cheeto? What about the cons, Cheeto? I'll get to that in just a second, so please be patient. I'm going to start with the pros first. Everybody likes good news, right? Now, first and foremost, what you notice right away is that it's graphically awesome. And what I mean by graphically awesome is that it looks cool, it feels cool, it's not that heavy, it's almost near perfect though, and it looks expensive too, which I will get to in just a second. So, if you go outside, right, and then the first thing people are going to know is like, oh my god, that is a really nice laptop, Cheeto. Why, thank you, good sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, you get a lot of nice comments right away if you have this bad boy here. So the next pro that I'm going to allow is, whatchamacallit, is that it has so many features that you can play with, though. Basically, you could adjust the game bar recordings. It acts as its own Xbox One console because it's a Microsoft computer, so you can talk with your friends and all that stuff. It can save screenshots. It can, it has good internet. It has a good connection. This thing can literally do it all. Almost everything. So yeah, just play around with it until you get the features you need. And yeah, that's pretty good. So my next pro, right, which I showed last time, right, is that the processor on this is absolutely amazing, though. That you could get like almost an hour-long video, right, and in just a couple of minutes, though, boom, there it is, you're done. But yet it depends on the contents of your video that you're gonna, convert and record for future use. So keep in mind of that. Some content takes longer to process, some of them takes no time at all. So it all depends though, but for me though, it's literally almost no time at all. So that's pretty good on that. Let's see what else I can come up with. And yeah, basically though, it could easily take in a lot of accessories. So any accessories that you have, like an Xbox controller or your headset, it can easily take that in and adapt that as own. So yeah, that's also pretty good for that too. And I think that's all the pros that I can come up with, but I know there are more out there, but hey, I can't list them all at the same time, right? Otherwise we'll be here forever, right? Okay, and now for the cons, ladies and gentlemen. Now the first thing I have noticed is that when I do game or stream videos and all that stuff, the battery life tends to run out a little bit quicker, but on standby mode there's no problem. So basically the battery life could be better. Now I know it's not the best, I know it's not the greatest or the worst, but to me though it's pretty much okay. I mean, I get an hour at most of continuous gaming without it being plugged in. But hey, but when it is plugged in though, like I said though, it kind of makes up for it though, so that's okay. The next thing I did notice is that when I do play some of my games and record audio and all that stuff for video, I do notice that it tends to heat up a little bit more quicker than usual. Which is why though I had the thing lifted up though, because the bed sheets were blocking the ventilators, and if you don't have proper ventilation, then it's going to shut off automatically, and yeah, it's going to probably mess up your insides. So make sure that in order to avert this con, right, which will overheat, make sure to put it in a one ventilated area. Open windows might help, but yeah, it's pretty good all the same though. Just keep it a little above. And finally, the most important con of all though, which I know that you probably guessed by now, is that this thing is really expensive to buy. I mean, you're gonna have to come up with thousands of dollars just to pay for this thing. Yeah, I spent a little over $2,000 on this thing, and yeah, it wasn't very easy to come by. And yeah, it was. But you know what? It was worth it. It served me well so far. It did came with a yearly warranty just in case it messes up. So yeah, that kind of makes up for it though. So this is gonna be a hard decision. My final verdict, ladies and gentlemen. That is gonna be a tough call. But it depends on, you know, your likes and my likes and everything. But yours is pretty much different from mine. But don't forget that this is all very opinionated. And, you know, what I think may be different from what you think. So I'm just going to explain everything here. So despite all the cons that kind of were present here, the pros did outweigh it this time. So I'm going to give this thing a 5 out of 5 stars. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, a full 5 stars. I think it's perfect. But you know what, though? I'm going to add a little something to that this time. Made by a former warrior of Lassie, you know, who was dedicated to, you know, serving the Empire well. I hope he's doing well in his life, though. He's not here no more. But if he does come back, then yay. I'm going to give this my own, like Angry Joe, badass seal of approval. Or in this case, the Lassie seal of approval, which therefore is approved for all the Seed gaming and everything else. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of better laptops out there, a lot of better desktops, and I know some of you want a desktop than a laptop, but you know what? This laptop has served me well and everything, and you know what? Despite the cons, though, I'm still going to use it. Nothing's perfect, but I think it's perfect. But anyways, though, let me know what you would think of the comment section. If you do agree with the rating, just leave a comment below. But if you disagree, just tell me why. And yeah, I'll read it and, you know, consider it. But until then, like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of this, though. And yeah, I'm going to be trying to use PC gaming in order to do my Xbox recordings and all that stuff. Because, as you know, my Xbox Avid capture card kind of frets out, so this is the next best thing. So yeah, until then, this has been Cheeto2500. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I know it's late at night, I am a bit tired, and yeah. See you later, guys.